This is class 3. We will be continuing on from last week. It was about the core message, your core message, and that in combination with the writer's block, because they go hand in hand. And I think I read someone already had an issue choosing or writing. And what we'll do to begin with, we'll go over any difficulties with you completing your homework or your writing assignment. We'll then do the hot seat for anyone who has a burning issue they want to bring in. And then we'll get on and continue with today's lesson. But before we even do anything today, I want to read you, I don't know if I've sent it to all of you, a quote that found its way to me today, and I really felt it. You know, I had one of these days when I felt like I have nothing interesting to say and there's nothing worth saying. And all of us go through these stages almost like, well, I don't know if I can tell anyone. And just popped onto my timeline. Most of you know that my teacher is Adi Ashante, and I follow his teachings quite a lot, as well as Baron Katie's. And I found this, and it says, just for a moment, let yourself just be here. Let yourself stop becoming more, better, or different. That's it. Just for a moment, let yourself be here. Let yourself stop becoming more, better, or different. And I found that very relevant and powerful. Because don't we all try to become something different all the time? We want to be better writers, better spouses, mothers, fathers, boyfriends, husbands. We want to be either better or more or something different. How often do we just say, I am who I am here? I would even take it to I am that. You don't have to, but just I am here. Just be here in this moment without thinking about the past, without thinking about imagining the future, without worrying about how my writing would be, what people will think of it, whether I'll get accolades, whether it will be well received, whether I'll make money from it, you know. But I'm sure this extends to your personal lives as well, but I'm not going to go into that today, or not today. We can do that as well if you want at some point, but it's still about writing. It's still a writer's masterclass. Yeah, so just to begin maybe with that intention of just being here together in this space, created for the sake of creating, for the sake of creativity, and not for the sake of training you or coaching you. I don't like the term coach, and I'm not against coaching. I think it's very, very positive, and it's very good in the sense of having someone to hold you in place, to push you when you need to, etc., etc. I know that the world we live in is looking for qualifications and degrees and diplomas, and again, it's the world we live in. I prefer the term friend, a friend who can talk to you about things and who can listen to you. And I see myself as that. I don't see myself as a coach, nor do I want to be called a coach. So with that intention of just being here, listening with an open heart, and just seeing what stays, okay? So that was what I wanted to do today before anything. Shantae, you wrote something. Now suicidal, I used the daily chant that kept me here. It was simply just for today. Wow, sweetie, that's powerful. Thank you so much for sharing that very vulnerable situation and moment. Well done to you, babe. just for today. And even, even just for this moment, I will even take that just for now, Not everything has to be fixed right now, including me and my home. We're fine, using the comparison with my home. If you dialed in late, the rooftop of my house, which is a new house, which I bought, my first home that I bought 2 years ago, my pride and joy. The top of the roof was blown off by the wind, the ridge, the part that holds the roof together. So literally it fell like a toy house. And I thought that there would be a double material there or something, but we found there wasn't. So there was another 2 storms coming and rain. Like, what can I do now, right? Oh my God, I have to fix everything. I just was overcome by the state of calmness. I just calling people, my roof was blown off. Can you come? And the person, of course, I'll be right there, And there were hundreds of people making calls. So I was so blessed, so lucky. This man came, he went into my attic. My neighbor, who happens to be a builder, had all the equipment you can imagine. He had more than the roofer. They stapled everything. They went in there. They had waterproof stuff to put on the wall, on the floor. And I was just there. And all I did was, can you help me? Can anyone help? And it came. And it's like my entire street came to clear the rubbish. It was amazing, a beautiful moment. And I could have, oh my God, what am I going to do now? Oh, I could have done that as well. But it was something deeper, something more powerful that was driving me, in a sense of right now, what do you do now? Call insurance, call the roofer, call this person, secure the place, make sure everyone is inside, tell people not to step outside of my property, etc. So taking that into writing, again, bringing it back here. And this connects, funnily enough, to the homework that, that I asked you to do. And it was about the content. It was about your core message, with something that sits at the core, and it sits at the center of your story, whether it's a story, a poem, a book, or a script. When something is in the center and you have orbits around it, or you might know the other way was you have little bits and images, but you don't quite know what the center is, right? So I've asked you to answer, what did you feel that made you want to write? This is, again, personal to you. What's the feeling? What do you want others to feel when they read your story? And how do you want your book to touch their lives? How will their lives be different? And finally, what's the lesson? But the key of that, it's coming from a core. And that core that I want you to reach, it's impeccable. It's untouched by anything. And that is the core of your writing. And the prologue, the lesson in your writing, and part of the structure is in the answer of these 4 questions. The answer of these 4 questions will drive the way you introduce your book, the way you write your stories and your content, and the way you tell people about it. These are very important, although they may not seem right now. It will all tie in. So I want to hear from you. I want to hear someone who wants to offer and read their responses. I know I saw at least Maha, Shante, and Vera just texted earlier, but I didn't have the chance to read yours. And Amar, thank you. Being top of the class, Amar, again, he completed his homework first. Yeah, a little bit of schoolwork. And Carmen, I want to talk to you about that if you're able to talk today. You said you haven't decided what to write yet. And I want to invite you later on for the hot seat if you're willing to and if you're able to talk. I'd like to take that on with you if you're willing to, only if you want to. It's no pressure. Okay, honey?
I can do that. Yeah, I can do that.
Beautiful. Okay, but first, anyone who has already written their homework that wants to read to us just for inspiration and just to really hear themselves out loud, about their core.
I can do it.
Okay. I like the pause there. I like the silence a little bit. I wanted you to be sure.
I was waiting if anyone else was there.
Yeah, bless. Yes, yes.
Yeah, first I need to find it. So
Okay.
first, what did you feel that made you want to write? Despair and hope, relief, gratitude and joy, sparks of joy between the clutter. I want to know answers to questions I have. I want to connect with creativity and the flow of the inner world. And writing makes me feel good. It brings me joy. So sparks of joy would be the core of the core, I guess.
Well done, brilliant. That's exactly what I wanted you to do. You see that the message it's in the words, and words are messengers, and words repeated themselves. The same I saw in Amar, I saw the word journey. For you, Amar, journey is important. And heart, journey and heart, right? The same with Vera, joy comes up. That is the core. That is the core. And you all have that. And whether you realize it or not, it's in your words. I want to apologize just for a minute. Donna is lost in the links. Let me just quickly send it to her so that everybody is included. Although she is on the group and on the thing, I think she's new to Telegram. So I hope I sent it to her. Apologies. Ooh, yes, I did. Okay. So Vera, let me I want to bring your words here on my screen again, one more, and go a little bit deeper. You did send it on the chat, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Despair and hope, relief, gratitude, joy, sparks of joy between the clutter. I want to know answers to questions that I have. I want to connect with creativity and the flow of the inner world. Joy, 3 times in the same answer, so joy. What do you want others to feel? Okay.
What do you want others to feel when they read your story? Hope and inspiration, calm. Like the words are a blanket they can wrap around themselves for soothing calm and comfort. That they find their own inner words to use as their own superpower.
Beautiful. Calm as a superpower. That's what strikes me here. The calmness is a superpower. Okay, beautiful. How do you want your book to touch others' lives?
It's one of the tools, one of the steps they may use to become who they want to be, to express themselves the way they want to express themselves.
A tool, expression. So here expression comes up, right? So the outer message, so we know your inner message is joy, so your core is joy, and outside, this is already, now we're going to others experience of your book, expression, feeling that freedom of expression, right? Feeling that they can do the same as well. And hi, Donna, welcome. I'm glad you're able to join. And finally, what is the lesson? What is your lesson?
Mila, älä tuu nyt tähän, kun tää nauhoitetaan joko. Okay. So there is always hope. There is always a way. There is always the soft, calm presence of love. We reach out to it and it is in us. The core message, there is life, hope, and calm everywhere. And this is how I found it. So, but I think the last bit earlier, we reach out to it and it is in us. That's the thing.
Amazing. I love that. So you see now how Now, what I want you to do with your words in front of you, think of a poem you wrote, or a couple of poems you wrote. Hi, honey, it's okay. He's not wearing his shirt. Let me know if you can still hear me, as I had to switch to headset. Yeah. Okay. So, honey, what I wanted you to do, you don't have to do it right now, but look at what you wrote regarding, first of all, you already know how you feel and why you write for joy. That makes you happy. Now, thinking of questions 2, 3, and 4, how do you want others to feel when they read your story? How do you want it to touch their lives? Or almost you can either say to impact their lives. And what's the lesson? So now looking into the poems that you write, and I already know the poems that you write, could you find those answers matching into your poems? So let's say, is the feeling of hope in your poem, because you said hope, is freedom of expression in your poem? Yeah. And it's going inside in your poem. Going inside, I know absolutely it's there. You write about your inner world. That's what you write about. So now you see, this is how we use the answers to these questions to look at our writing, our stories, short stories, novellas, autobiographies. Is what I want to express to the reader there? Is the sense of hope there? Is the sense of the power of expression there? How do I do that? Where is it? In which line? In which paragraph? Make sure that that's always there. And I'm not overreacting when I'm saying it should be in every chapter. It should be in every poem. Not in every line, but overall in the feel of a story or of an important part of your book. If you take that poem out alone, if you take that chapter out alone and you give it to one person, that person will feel joy, hope, freedom to express themselves, and they'll feel the freedom to go in. That is how we create something powerful, connected, and it automatically becomes so easy to market. And we hate selling. By the way, I'm talking to Jason Campbell on Wednesday on the podcast with his new book is out, Selling with Love, the Mind Valley guy, yeah, Jason from Mind Valley. So I'm going to get him to help us sell as writers and poets, because we hate selling, right? We're introverts. We stay indoors and we write poems. We don't want to sell. So this is part of it, as I had to dip my toes into selling as well, especially selling poetry. The key for us, not just selling, but like expressing our story powerfully, is if we're able to connect to this core. Okay. Beautiful. So that was an example. If you haven't finished your homework, but I'm pretty sure you have. I think everyone here on the call sent me theirs. This is basically what I want you to do now. Carmen, are you okay to talk, sweetie? Carmen, if you're okay to talk, I wanted us to talk about, I think you wrote in the chat that you couldn't decide on which project to write about, right? Because you have two. I know you write poetry, but I also know you want to write a little bit about your life story. Is that right? First of all, are you okay? Is everything good?
Yeah, everything is good. I've been sick and I overslept this morning. So actually I woke up about 5 minutes before the call. So I'm a little discombobulated.
Oh, bless you.
So.
Okay. That's what I meant. Yeah, I felt you're not 100% because usually you're up and you're running on camera. So again, don't feel the pressure to do anything if you don't. Keshni is also not feeling well. But I think maybe it'll be useful and it will help you. It will help you get up. So Carmen and everyone in the class, if you ever have, I'm sure all of us, we have doubts about what to write, or at least what to write first, what to start with, right? Even if we decide, I know I want to write a book about, what is it, mine? mundane bliss, or where do I start? You know, well, what do I want to write about? It's the same, as, except Carmen has 2 projects in mind. So Carmen, take us a little bit briefly through your 2 ideas, if that's okay. Idea 1.
Yeah. So one of the ideas, you know, is it's the women in my life, a tale of vanilla, you know, and I spent most of the week trying to find the work that I had already done on it, which I did. I was able to find that, and then the other one, what I decided, it's what I'd started working on it a long time ago too, and that's it's the script writers. It's all about how controlling we can be, and without realizing it, in order to avoid pain. It's the lengths we go to avoid pain, but we inadvertently bring about that very thing that we so fear, you know. So those were the two projects that I was looking at doing. The one that I talked about last week was it was, you know, the history was going to be a historical fiction, and I would like to do that eventually, but that one feels so big. It would require a lot of research and everything, and that one right now, it feels really super big. The Tale of Vanilla, when I go back and I look at it, it feels small. And then the script writers, you know, exactly what you were talking about came up for me, you know, instead of just staying connected to why I want to write, you know, I looked at
Shape.
In the future,
what it will look like. Is it going to look good? Is it the right shape for me? Okay, exactly. Okay.
Yeah, is it going to be something I really will love, or will I turn out to hate this, you know?
Yeah.
So,
okay.
And I will tell you another thing that played into it is my old story of I get ostracized by my people, by the you know, my friends, the groups that I join, and that fear came up, you know. So I tend to be too wordy, and that was another one. You know, I don't want this thing to be too wordy and no one to get it, you know. And I guess I just get to write it and not worry about all of that. So
beautiful. Carmen, I hope you're aware you already answered your question. I hope you realize that. And your heart wants you to write the vanilla story. That's what your heart wants to write. But in your own words, the length we go through to avoid pain, you would be willing to write another book just to avoid writing this book. Do you see that? Do you see that? You would be willing to come up with the script writer or something. When you said that, I didn't feel anything. The script writers or something about writing. So you want to write about writing rather than writing about you, about your feelings, about the women in your lives, about those powerful emotions. Your mind went, not necessarily you, but our mind, our thinking, because this is the topic of the day. We feel guilty or ashamed of our thinking, but we are not responsible of our thoughts. That's the conundrum, you know. We all think we don't start the thoughts. We cannot end them either. Thoughts come to us, and they come from a cloud that connects to all of us. We all have the same thoughts. No thought is new. And I'm not saying that in a detrimental way. On the opposite, in an endearing way. We all have the same thoughts. And even, let's say, a positive thought, not necessarily a negative thought, even a positive thought, we pick it up from there. And it just reaches us, we welcome it. And then we put it back into the world. We never say anything new. And I say that about my writing and in my book. It's not new what I'm saying. I'm just saying it in a way that may allow you to connect at the frequency I'm at. We all have so many different frequencies. We're like instruments in the world. If you were an instrument, I don't know, this just came to me because I'm not talking from myself at the moment. I'm trying to talk from where he wants to talk. If you were an instrument, what instrument would you be? Guitar came for me without thinking. Guitar. I'd be a guitar. What instrument would you be? Hi, Andra, sweetie. What instrument would you be? Just, I don't know, just feel into it. Piano.
I'd be a violin.
Violin.
I'd be a violin.
Yes, I thought a violin for you, believe it or not. I thought you're like a violin. It's a classical beauty. It's something that you need to train for, something that you master. And you already have this. You see how intuitively your mind gave you the answer. You know, you're not I don't know, a drum. Anyone can pretty much drum. I can drum now. Right? I'm drumming. With the violin, you need skill, you need to learn, and what you need, practice. You need to do it. You need to do it over and over and over again, right? You're a violin, so choose your instrument, everyone, because that's how you do. The way we do something, we do everything. Or other people like to say, the way we do anything, we do everything. The way we wash our dishes, we manage our finances. I promise you, it's the same. And that's why the way we picture ourselves as an instrument, that's the way we create. And a violin, that's something that takes commitment. You really need to commit to it. And absolutely, when you said the first idea, writing about the women and combining that with life experiences and poetry, that's a big commitment. It requires skill, dedication, and also vulnerability, because you can fail at any point. It's really difficult. And like you said, people will see it. Yeah. So anyway, I hope you got what you needed from our conversation. But for me, I feel that you want to write this. And what comes for me strongly as well, it's poetry. Your first love is poetry. I'd love to see you start writing poetry first. This is, again, take it or leave it. You don't have to do anything I say. I'm just here reflecting. I see what I see. I recognize my journey in it. And that's why I say, I see you want to write poetry. Most of the people here, you're all poets. Yeah, I'm a poet. So you've come to this energy, yeah? Andra never wrote poetry in her life. And within the last day, she started writing poetry, and she's writing children's stories. You all have something poetic in you, whether it will come in the form of a short story or biography. You have artistry in you. That's the word. You're not here to write books about management or I don't know, how to catch fish. You're here to create artistry with your words and to touch people through the art of words. So, sweetie, or I want to say to you, Carmen, don't run from that. That is a gift that you have. It's amazing. Embrace it. Screw what other people say. We don't live for other people, do we? I don't know if it was, again, Elizabeth Gilbert. She keeps coming back in the conversation. I think it probably was Big Magic again. And you know what she said? That we think that people think about us so much, but guess what? They don't. They really don't. People think about themselves. People care about themselves, and it's true. Like, I sit here and I wonder, oh my God, what will the class think about me, about the words that I say today? The whole day they'll be thinking about, no, you didn't. You got up, you did whatever you had to do. You went to work, you took your kids out, you fed you didn't think about, oh my God, what's Paula? Is she gonna do okay, or is she gonna do bad? But we think people think about us, and oh my God, they don't. People think about themselves 99% of the time. They will think about you, Stu. When you fail, they will talk about it. Oh, by the way, that person did this thing or another. And for 1% of their time, they'll think or talk about it. But for the rest of 99% of the time, they'll be occupied with the same thought as you are. What do others think of me? And that's the funny, and I find that really funny. It's a circle of life. People don't think about us, they think about themselves. So why waste our time living our life as if they talk about us or they think about us? They don't. Oh well. Before we go into today's class, today's topic, I want to ask anyone if there's anything they want to say, something burning. We're not going to do a hot seat because Carmen is in a hot seat today. Thank you so much for that, by the way, Carmen. That was brilliant. You spoke for many. Again, you spoke for many. And I love how beautiful your mind works so well, because it gives you all the answers. It's in your words and it's there. And we all need to learn to listen to what we say. The messages are all there. So thank you so much for that. Right. So anyone wants to say anything, whether it's about homework, writing? Yes, Donna.
I'd like to say, you were saying about people think about themselves. I think you also have to say they care first for themselves. There's a care. You will tell somebody and they will listen momentarily and they'll turn it around to how it makes them feel in their life, what you've said. So you say something has happened and then they care how it affects them. And if it doesn't affect them.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that is so spot on. Yeah. It's our inability to listen. That comes to our inability to listen. Someone tells us a story and we make it about us. Oh, I did this happened to me. And indeed, how is this going to impact me? Or an even better one is when someone's going through grief. And I've witnessed this recently. Someone's lost someone very close. You think about your own grief. They talk to you, but you think about your grief. You think about the grief you went. But you may be already out of your grief, but they are there and they're grieving and your attention goes to you. And again, it's almost automatic. It's automatic. It's the mind is made for association. We associate, If I tell you now, today, okay, people who are not in Europe, I want you to spot blue cars. Tell your mind to spot blue cars. You go outside, I promise you will spot blue cars all day long. Now don't curse me because I'm wearing blue. Say, think about a blue car. You give that message to your mind, it will go and find match. And it does the same with emotions and feelings. It sees a person feeling or acting or saying something and you overlap it onto yourself. It's very true. It's the most basic form of addiction that humans have. I wrote about it. I'll send you the article. I wrote that blog article many years ago. So many years ago, actually, maybe 3 or 4. I'll send it to you. We're addicted to thinking. And obviously in the Priestess, there's a letter about thinking. We think about thoughts. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons that we don't create and we don't write. Thank you, Donna, for that beautiful reminder. Andra, I hope you're feeling okay. I hope you're settled in your new home. Andra has moved. If you don't know everybody, she's moved in Spain. She moved countries, and after many challenges with her flat, she moved in recently. So I hope you're enjoying it, honey. Okay, let's go to class 3. Today, we continue to talk about the core message and a writer's block part 2. I read you some quotes last time, just at the end of the class, and I will begin with them. Writer's block is a misnomer and can be compared with turning off a faucet. Like the ability to write, faucets can develop problems when they're seldom used. You get all this rust in the pipes. When you turn on the faucet, a lot of rust comes out. This is Susan Neville, the novelist. So indeed, writing requires some practice. Sorry, I had to adjust my my laptop. So that was one of the quotes I read. And I write like I talk, and I don't get talker's block. I think it was Carmen's favorite, if I don't not mistaken. That's Seth Godin. We don't get talker's block, do we? We keep talking, write like you talk. And writing about a writer's block is better than not writing at all. That was Charles Bukowski. So again, there is something powerful, very powerful in creating a habit, and the habit to write in this case. And like any other habit, you need consistency. Like I said last time as well, you go to the gym only once a week or once a month, nothing is going to change. In fact, you're going to confuse your body. Your body is going to think, oh my God, I'm going to exercise and burn more calories. And then all of a sudden it doesn't. It's the same with the writing. You confuse yourselves and you confuse your sense of habit. I write and then I don't write. Even, you're going to unsettle yourself. I do believe in the fact that writer's block is a misnomer, as in there's no such thing. The only reason we don't write is because we subconsciously deny ourselves to create. We just deny ourselves to create. We find a reason, whether it's most of the time is subconscious, but we don't allow ourselves to fully express ourselves. And that can stem from anything. It can stem from a memory, from an experience, something you're aware of, something you're not aware of. Sometimes it's just a difficult association that we have with writing. It will be different for everyone. It will be different. But today is about how do I overcome this, or what is there to do about this? And again, there's practical steps. I like to offer you practical steps. And we can do a little exercise without going too deep now. I will go into depth with you. And if you all agree, I'd like to try the work with you next time. I'd like us to do an integration class next time. So we've done class 1, 2, 3. We talked about your devotion to writing, your vows. So the promise you make to yourself to write and the reasons. Then we talked a bit about the core message and, why you want to write, and now what keeps you from writing. So then I want us in the next class to revisit all this and come up with a list of beliefs that we have that really hold us back. And the work of Byron Katie, for me, is the best tool out there that anyone can try. You don't need to be qualified, trained, or anything like that. And the best thing about it is it's using writing. You capture your thoughts in writing. It's a writer's tool. So Byron Katie, if you don't know, do you know Byron Katie by the way? Most of you? Yes, some of you do, some of you don't. Okay. So I will send you a link to her website. Katie is a US spiritual teacher. She's from California. She had no knowledge whatsoever of Buddhism, of what nirvana is, of anything like that. She was just a very severely depressed woman. And she was so depressed and so agoraphobic, she wouldn't leave her room, and she ended up in a halfway house. Halfway house in the US, it's basically where you go if you're crazy. So she was locked in this room, and one day or one night rather, she was feeling so unworthy that she felt like she can't sleep in a bed. She's not worthy enough to sleep in a bed, so she slept on the floor. And in the morning, a cockroach crawled on her leg in the morning. So that cockroach woke her up, but in the moment she woke up, she de-identified. So she basically, for a split second, saw, in her own words, who she really was. The mirror, the walls lost form and shape and identification. And she got it in that moment. She got it. And she understood that everything we tell ourselves is never 100% true. There's no thought that is true in the world. No thought that is true in the world. I know that's hard, but no thought is ever true. So she started writing these 4 questions and a turnaround. in this process of her realization, of course, then in the next moment, she started again seeing her face and her name. But then this process lasted a few years and she was a totally different person. And people started coming to her house because they heard of how much she changed from this experience. She ended up writing several bestsellers, and she's teaching. She's basically created the work which is used by counselors, therapists, psychotherapists, amateurs. Everybody's using the work. It's a form of inquiry. It's self-inquiry, and it's a meditative work, but with a touch of cognition or recognition because of the questions. The questions keep you in place. They don't allow you to run away from the problem. So I want us to do this next week, actually. So we'll be doing we will be doing the first part. We'll do integration of everything we've done, and then we'll be doing the work together. I think that will really help because we can do it on the beliefs that keep us from writing. I think that will be the best work. So now back to today's practical steps. How do we overcome our blocks, or what I like to call them? They're not really blocks. They are reasons we keep ourselves from creating. Number one, just notice, is just becoming aware of times of the day, situations, and people that cause you to stop flowing. So it's just a noticing exercise. We start becoming aware of our emotional patterns around creativity. We have emotional patterns, again, whether we or not. We have an emotional pattern around writing, which we have created since forever. And starting to notice our pattern about creativity and about writing is the first step. Just start noticing. So for example, you're having a good day and all of a sudden something happens. Oh, I can't write anymore. I don't feel like writing. What is it? Can you notice? Did you meet someone? Did you see someone? Did something remind you of something? It can be something as easy as you saw someone across the street talking, or you heard something, or someone called you, or just start noticing, simply start noticing what was it, that caused you to stop flowing. The second point, the second practical step is identify the why. Why is that holding you back? So let's give a practical example. So let's say I was writing and then my family someone called my mom and she told me something. I got really upset about her. I don't know. She pressed a button and then, okay, so that happened. Now, why is that stopping me from writing? You see, that's the difference. Okay, so this person said something or did something with their own life and time, but why is that a stopper for me? Okay, is not directly visible. And also, I want to add, what something says or does, it's not the cause of what we do. What something said, whoever says or does something shouldn't stop you from doing that which you want to do. This is related to blaming people or situation. I can't write because, right? So for a long time, I told myself I can't write because I'm a mother, because I have to take care of my son, which again, it's not that I didn't have to take care of him. Of course I did. It's not a lie, but taking care of my son does not mean I cannot write. Okay, so they're not equal. That's what I'm trying to say. Why is that stopping you? In what way is that directly stopping you? Okay, or in the example I've given you, I could write on the train. So yeah, when I'm at home, I take care of him, but on my journey to work, which is 35 minutes on a train and 35 minutes back, I have an hour and 10 minutes of writing, which is what most people do. You write on the train, right? 1 hour, there it is. So I was making that up. Basically. That's the point of what I'm saying. So what was number one? So first we notice, then we ask ourselves, why is this holding me back? Point three is if your reason to write is not a palpable one, i.e., you ran out of ink and paper, or your phone ran out of battery, unless it's a really palpable thing where your hands are tied, you found yourself in a situation where your hands are tied and you can't write. So unless it's one of these palpable reasons, ask yourself, what do I need to know, do, or say in order to embrace this block? What do I need to know, do, or say in order to embrace it? Again, these are questions, and these questions we sit with, you know. It's not something that we write on a piece of paper. It's no questionnaire, it's no quiz, it's not one of these school tests. You quickly read the question and write the answer. This is something we sit with and choose moments that are very random and that are not big. I want to invite you to choose something simple, not something that's not super big, like a really tense relationship or situation. Choose something like your neighbor is playing really loud music and it's annoying you, or, you know, something like that. Something, the postman knocks at the door just when you're in the flow, or something like that, you know, something that happens in the day-to-day. This happened to me so many times during lockdown. Amazon deliveries. Oh my God, I found this. I was writing ding dong at the door. And they usually come between 11 and 1. So between 11 and 1 on Saturday, I was really annoyed. Anyway, so pick something simple and run yourself through the question. So number 1, just notice. Number 2, identify the why. Why is this a problem? Number 3, what do I need to know, do, or say in order to embrace this block? To give you an example, what do I need to know, do, or say? For example, for me, in the example I've given you with my son, what do I need to say? It was just as simple as saying to my son that I like to write, I'm writing, and mommy has this time of the day when we wind down, when I write, okay? So then your son becomes aware of this. So therefore, the presence of my son is no longer a block for me, right? He understands. And I explained to him the way you like to play, I don't know, a computer game, or the way you like to watch a series, I like to write. So while you play that computer game, I'm going to write, okay? So I'm going to be in my room. So please, unless there's something really urgent, don't bother me for half an hour. So that's why I needed to say. In other cases, it's not something as obvious. It can be something a bit more convoluted. It can be something that you need to know. You need to say to yourself rather than say to other people. It may be something that you need to realize about yourself, you know. Carmen had a beautiful example here with, I want to write the vanilla book, but why don't I write about writing? Well, look at that. Look at that, how in your own words, you answered your own question. You answered why you don't want to write. So this is an example of, I need to know this about myself. And in that moment, you embrace the block. You embrace the reason why. All you have to do is just recognize it, basically. It's not like you have to do some special technique with it, or I don't know, put it through a sieve and apply substances to the block to explode. You don't have to do any technology. It really is noticing openness, having the openness and having that intention. It blossoms like a flower. It opens like a flower. You have the bud, you water it, the sunlight will grow it. There is really nothing that you need to do specifically, but having this openness, and the openness is in the questions, is in the question. Okay, so you notice, you know why, you know what you need to know, do, or say to embrace the block. Finally, last one is talk to someone. Talk to someone. And I mentioned at the beginning, it could be a friend or a coach. Some of you have coaches, or you know, you're in different groups. Talk to someone. This is one of the reasons, or one of the topics, not the reason, it's one of the main topics to have a writer's coach for. The other one I mentioned last week was the structure of your book, or the core concept of your book. And the second one is about the blocks. These two reasons are worthy enough for having a coach, or like I said, a friend. This is number 4. Do talk about it, and talk about it to someone. Again, using Carmen's example, you see, when you talk to someone that's not inside your story, they can help you see things from outside the box, right? You're not there, you're outside, and you can see, you may have a different angle, and you could offer. I always like to say, and I know some of you here are coaches. Andrea, you're a coach, and you all following coaching programs. I do want to almost ask you, like a friend or almost a favor, please never tell someone what to do. Even if they ask you, never tell someone what to do with their lives or with their books. And if I ever do that, please, I want you to pull my sleeve on it and tell me, Paula, don't tell me what to do, because it can happen, it's human. But never, never, never tell someone, you should do this and you should do that. Or I think Sylvia put a text last week, something about telling how to feel. We should never tell people how to feel, and never, people feel what they feel. You feel what you feel. Me telling you not to feel that way, that's condescending, and it's violent. It's a form of violence. Don't feel that way. How can you tell someone don't feel that way? It's almost like saying, don't have blue eyes. Vera, stop having that hair. Like, don't, make it leaves instead of hair. Can you come up with leaves next time? It's the same as telling someone, don't feel that way, don't do that, don't feel. No, these conversations are about, okay, this is what I see, you tell me this thing, this is what I see, this is what I hear, this is what I hear, and tell the other person why you hear or why you notice. And that person may say, no, it's definitely not that. Or that person may say, yeah, it's actually exactly that. But just talking about it, the best conversations I've ever had is when I never talk. Because the other person, when they hear themselves talking, oh my God, I just said that. Yeah, you said that. Oh, did you say this, that, and the other? Did I say that? Yes, you did. Oh no, I can't believe I believe that about myself. Yes, you do. You do. And this only comes up in a conversation, right? This is why point 4 is so important. This is why this group exists. This is why we send each other messages in the chat. Again, not to coach ourselves, not to tell each other, do this, that, or the other. Of course, suggest in the sense of, I tried this, that's always beautiful and useful. I had this, especially if you recognize similar problems in each other. I had this issue and I tried this and this worked for me, That's support. That's a supportive community. But that's point 4. That's what point 4 is about. It's never about telling other people how to live their lives. Even if you pay them, don't tell anyone. Don't let anyone tell you how to live your life or what to do or how to behave. And even if you ask them, try not to ask them. Who said this? I can't remember the name. Never take advice from someone if you don't want to swap lives with them, basically. Do you want to swap lives with that person? Would you want to live their lives? Then yeah, take their advice. Otherwise, not. And who wants to live someone else's life? Anyway, not me. Okay, beauties. So that was the content for today. We're near enough the end of the class. The point 4, talk to someone about it, is why I want us to do the work next week. The work is a very deep conversation. It's more than a talk. It's a vulnerability that we share and we express. And I will ask for a volunteer. I can ask you now ahead if someone wants to. I'm going to send you it's a working sheet. Let me quickly try and share. Let me see if I have it here. Do I have it? Is everyone okay for time? 2 minutes, yeah? Just not if you need to drop off, don't worry, as I will be sending all these materials to you after after, but there is here. Oh, here it is. I do have it. I have the Judge Your Neighbor worksheet, which I will be sending, and I want us to fill this in regarding one situation or a belief. Can you say this okay? Yeah, Judge Your Neighbor worksheet. What this means is in life, you find yourself in situations where someone really upsets you, annoys you. Usually Judge Your Neighbor worksheet, as in you judge other people, your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, someone upsets you. And this worksheet allows you to capture your thoughts about that situation in writing, okay? Then what we do with these thoughts, we apply 4 questions and a turnaround to each of the thoughts. An example is here. I am angry with Paul because he lied to me, okay? So this has to be, though, a specific moment in time. The key to this is it has to be very specific. I walked into the kitchen this morning at 9 o'clock. Paul was there. He lied to me about buying groceries. It was that moment in time. So don't allow yourself to go into general ideas or beliefs, yeah, because that's not the work. That's us avoiding the work. It has to be a specific moment in time, okay? If it's not about another person, you can replace Paul with my thinking, right? So for example, I am angry with my thinking because it's telling me I'm not talented enough, right? My thinking, my mind is telling me I'm not talented enough. I cannot write. Whatever it is, the belief that's coming into your mind. So you replace a person with my thinking, okay? You have to realize that it's not you who is not talented. It is your thinking that's telling you. It's your mind telling you. It's a thought that shows up in your mind that you're not talented. It's not you who isn't talented. It's just a thought. It's a narrative. Okay, so you go through this worksheet and have a stab at it, either with a situation or a thought that you have. And then next week, what we'll do integration, and we will do the worksheet together. I will work with someone who wants to offer working on their sheet, and we do it in parallel. We all have our own issue, but we ask the question at the same time and we meditate on them at the same time. And we see what comes up, and you'll be so amazed to see what comes up. Very unexpected stuff comes up. I've been doing this for a very long time, maybe more than 10 years. And the most unexpected things show up, things you didn't realize, you didn't, or you weren't aware of. And they're all about yourself. They're never about someone else. They're all about yourself. So I will be sending this to you next time. And there is a homework as well. I want you to write. I'm giving you a lot of work because it's all writing, right? So that's writing practice. Judge Your Neighbor is writing. Your homework is writers write. Write for 5 days in a row for at least 30 minutes. It doesn't have to be shown to anyone. It can be about anything. Just share with the class your experience about writing. And what I mean about here is your emotions around the creative process, like we talked about before. Start noticing what emotion you have around it. So if I tell you, you need to write for 5 days in a row for half an hour, what happens inside you when let's say you're on a 3rd day and you don't want to write anymore? Notice that and share with us the narrative of your emotions around writing. So that goes hand in hand with the topic of today. It teaches you to notice, to question, to embrace it, and to talk about it. Okay, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you need to write for 30 minutes minimum. All right, beloveds? Okay. We're at the end of the class. Please share if you'd like to share any takeaways or want to say anything or something that stay with you, or you have any questions. I'm happy to stay behind a bit and answer them. Or if you just want to say something, it's open. Yes, Donna.
Go ahead, Donna.
Donna, you're muted, honey.
I have trouble each week finding the new class. So could you maybe email that class out?
I have. So I have
class?
added you to the meeting invite, and it's always the same meeting ID, the one I've emailed you today.
Yeah, but I did today. I did 1, 2, and then I went through to the, you know, the one where everybody talked and found 3 in there. So I had to read all. I had to glance through all of them.
Okay, so you see class 1, 2, 3, but the meeting ID is the same. I'm not changing it. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah,
so
but I used the code for 1 and it said won't come up. So I used the code for 2 and it said wouldn't come up. So I went to the code and I scrolled down and found the code for 3.
I will email you separately. I'll email you separately the link, and you have it saved somewhere where you can find it next time. Okay.
Okay, sounds great. Thanks.
Oh, lovely.
I hate coming in late. It's not being disrespectful. It's finding it.
That's okay. Don't worry. I realized you didn't see the message. It's fine. Carmen, did you want to say something?
I was typing something in the chat. So
I totally missed that.
Yeah, this has been so very, very helpful. Even though the answers are within us, you know, sometimes it takes having that friend, you know, that we talk it through with, you know. Otherwise we just kind of get lost in our own thought, and we don't come to that place. So thank you.
Oh, you're most welcome. Yeah. That's exactly what it is. You just get lost in the cloud of thoughts, and there's nothing else. And sometimes it just takes a conversation with someone to help you come back to you, actually, to your center. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Carmen. Thank you for taking a hot seat today. Anything else, anyone?
I did. I wanted to say, there was a moment in the class when you said, I think it was to Vera, like, I know your poetry and how you write your poetry. And for some reason, I think it just struck with it. I don't know. I didn't even realize it, but
yeah,
throughout like all the poems that I've been writing, I didn't realize it until today. There's like this badness that starts, and then there's this work that happens, and then boom, at the end, the person becomes something else or something different. Like, I realized that's the running theme in the poems that I write. And so for me, the message that I try to communicate through the work is personal power, emerging from difficulty.
Wow.
And even the children's book is something like that. Reach in for the tiger if you're scared, reach in for the koala if you need stillness. So it all came together and made sense. So thank you.
Oh,
yeah.
so for you.
It was so beautiful.
Yeah, it clicked into your core message. You see, yeah, coming through something challenging indeed. And the one you read last week on Poetry Live was exactly that. It was about choice, right? Yeah, the one about choice was exactly that. That was beautiful. Oh, I'm so happy for you. I'm really glad. Oh, super, super wow. Carmen, you committing to writing. You've been writing every day. You didn't miss a day. Well done. I didn't always feel like author should be. I just went with what was in my heart and flowing. Brilliant. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. So that means your flow is coming in steady. You're not stopping yourself anymore. So that's, again, another big step. And I do want to comment, Carmen, you've been on top of your work. I saw your commitment. You're writing your homeworks. You're doing you're taking a deep dive. So that's really, really good. I'm very proud of you. As I know how much of a difficult block you had and a very traumatic experience as well. So really very inspiring for everyone to see that. You pulling yourself out of it is very beautiful. All right, my lovelies, lovely to see your faces. I hope you got what you needed from the lesson, and I will see you next Monday. And for some of you who want to join Poetry Live, it's on Wednesday. Okay. All right. Hugs right back. Bye, everyone. Take care. Feel
Thank
better,
you, Paula.
Keshi. I hope you feel better soon.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Paula. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Paula, holding you in my heart about your roof, that everything goes. Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, so
It will be fixed soon.
yes.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.